Lola, thank you very much for coming. You have so much already. Um, in art terms, you work as a sculptor, video with performance, photography, but in general, you are a creator of experiences. Well, you are born in Argentina, a country with the Andes Mountains, big lakes, the Pampas, grassland, and the big beef cattle. And you also have the tango dance and music there. And Buenos Aires has a population of around about 3 million people. So you are coming from a huge city. What does mean Buenos Aires?
For me, Buenos Aires is my place where I grew up, the place where my family is, and the place that I look forward to go every year to meet all my friends and my family.
But what is this city, what you really love about this city, and maybe what you don't love so much?
About Buenos Aires?
Yeah.
Well, I really love its diversity, I would say. I think a few years ago, after being in Europe, having lived in Europe for a few years, I went back to Argentina and to Buenos Aires, and I realized how much contrast there is in general among architecture, among peace and busyness, because I live in the countryside sort of, and then all my friends are in the city, so I usually go to the city during the day, meet all my friends, maybe stay overnight, but then I always have to go back to my home where it's peaceful and quiet, and then I recharge, and then I can keep going. So I think there is this big duality in Buenos Aires, and also among people. You have very wealthy areas, and in the corner you have a mother with 3 children asking for help. So there is this constant duality, and that you have to keep attentive and with your mind, eyes and mind open, receptive.
And do you also bike there?
Not really, but I do remember that in 2010 or something, when I started going more to the city center because of my studies, the government introduced this new plan of bicycles to kind of promote healthy living, and in the city center, right in the city center, they placed bicycle lanes, and there were some points where you could pick up a bike and for 1 hour have it, mostly for encourage people to cycle instead of using cars. And I remember I would just go there and pick up a bicycle and cycle through Palermo, which is really beautiful, and a lot of lakes and, well, artificial lakes and gardens, and maybe if I had some time in between meeting people, then I would just go cycle for a bit and then go back. But it's also really different because the culture is not used to bicycles, so it's really like a jungle to cycle in Buenos Aires. Yeah. Not like in Groningen.
Okay.
Which it can be a jungle, but
Yeah.
different one.
Yeah. Well, from Argentina you moved to the UK, to England, and there you worked, what I saw on LinkedIn, on your profile, as a trend hunter for 1 year and 9 months. You worked as a saleswoman for 6 months, and then you worked as a bartender, a waitress, and a housekeeper. But then you moved and you worked for 6 months at the Henry Moore Foundation. in Perry Green, that's in Hertfordshire in England. Please take me there. What happened there for you? Describe your feelings, your memories, where you biked maybe there.
I did bike there.
Every day. What you saw, the fields, how was the smell, and how was the inside of the foundation?
All right. I lived in England or a little bit less than 2 years. I was working as an au pair there for a family, so living with the family and taking care of their children. And they lived in Hertfordshire, which is kind of in between London and Cambridge, so more of a rural area with huge houses and huge gardens, very beautiful. And it happened to be relatively close to the Henry Moore Foundation, which is where he and his wife Ihno and later on their daughter Mary lived after the war, Second War. Because he used to have a studio in London and their studio got bombarded, so they kind of escaped from London and they went to the countryside, which was a perfect background for his sculptures because he uses a lot nature as his inspiration and as a background for his sculptures. And the grandma of the family, who also is an art enthusiast, once told me about this place. And it happened to be really close. I mean, it took me maybe with a bicycle around half an hour to go there. And you have to go through all these fields and then cycle. So I would work there in the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, from 10 to 5. I mean, the foundation is only open during the summer, so it's a 6-month period, something like that. And when I went to visit it, or I was checking the website, and then there were some open vacancies, and I applied to be doing activities with children from schools. And then they called me back and I had an interview, and then they proposed that I could be doing tours for people at the house, because the foundation is, before he died, in the 80s, I don't quite remember, he turned this place where he used to live in a foundation. So now his house and the grounds, which are more than 40 hectares, belong to the foundation, and there are also his workshops where he worked and sculpted and carved with plaster and made molds or prints. They are there, so it's really one of the most amazing places really to get to know in Earth. And they proposed to me that I could be doing the tours in the house, and I had some experiences doing tours in Buenos Aires. So I said yes, and it was even a paid job, so it was amazing. And they were also, his and his wife were collectors of art. So when you come in the house, you have these cabinets with Cycladic and Mayan pieces from all over the world that he collected. You have to your right their living room full of cacti and books and Renoir and Rodin sculpture, so it's really wow, full of things. And then you have like a Picasso in the kitchen, and the house is really like traveling into time. A lot of the things are still, the fridge is still working. It's like a fridge they bought like 50 years ago or something like that. So it's really amazing place, and the people are very nice. So every time I go there to England, I try to visit them as well.
Okay. Well, in 2015, you went to the University of London, and you got a certificate in independent curatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what you learned there?
That course was quite interesting. So this was a birthday present from the family I used to work with, which are also amazing, and we are still in contact. And yeah, we love each other very much. They're really supportive, and they always support me with my career as an artist, and they always kind of also try to suggest or guide me, well, maybe you can do this, because they also knew me, so they could see I loved organizing and taking action, so they always kind of encouraged me to try maybe curatorial studies. So they gave me this as a present, and this was like an intensive course for 1 month. What did I learn in this course? Well, we kind of went through different ways of curating, and how now artists are even curating their own shows, so it's a bit more flexible than what it used to be. So what can you as a curator, or what do you want to communicate, what do you want to show the audience? So this was really interesting, and also the people that were in the course, they were also artists or students, so I got to see and know people. That feels so long ago, it's so long ago already. But, we had to, in the end, make a presentation, and also, well, taking an account budget, proposals, and funding, and look for a space. So I guess it was kind of basic information, which I also learned over the years while doing it, while being here. So yeah, I guess everything was a sum of experiences and knowledge.
Okay. Can you tell me how art became really serious in your life?
Okay. Well, art has been always present. I only knew this a few years ago, but my mom studied fine arts. She is a speech therapist, and alongside her, after that, she studied fine arts, and she got pregnant of me when she was studying fine arts. And then she stopped because she was pregnant of me. So when she told me this, I was really in shock, because I think I have it in my blood already. It's like there is no other way I could conceive life, because it's already in me. So from a very early age. And yeah, both my parents were always encouraging me, and I painted the curtains of the toilet, or painted the sofas, and like everywhere. So I always been very closely to art. My mom would take me to see exhibitions, and I always loved the visual and the creative aspect of art. And when I finished school and I had to choose for a career, I was very interested in creativity and communication. And in the first week of the course, I first studied artistic direction, so not so far away from art and fine arts, but the course I did was focused on advertisement. So on the first week of the course, on Friday, we had this old man who came and turned all the lights of the room and started giving a presentation on history of art. And everyone was like super complaining and really falling asleep, and I was like, wow. And then I felt it in my heart, like this is what I want to study, fine arts, and I want to study in Europe. So the deal with my parents, they really wanted me to have a degree before I went to do something else, so I can finish that study in 2 years. And I then worked for 1 year to earn some money, and my father gave me the money to pay for my tickets, which was really amazing. And then I went to England, and in England I started building up my dream, I would say, like trying to look for the place in the world where I could study, which course, because I wasn't really sure if it would be fine arts or what kind of course did I wanted to do, or where. I was really lost, I would say. But I always wanted to know England, so my first step was England, and from England every weekend I would go to London, every weekend, and see exhibitions and museums, and that was really like an experience, really getting to know. And by then I was doing a lot of taking courses on painting and life models, so very classical, I would say. And in my encounters in London, I got to go to the Tate Modern or to the Saatchi Gallery and encounter works by Joseph Beuys or Dan Flavin, and this was really like, wow, like, or I remember when I got to see like these huge squares by Donald Judd, like conceptual art and concrete art, and it was really mind-blowing for me. So this really started opening my mind. And then I came to visit some friends in the Netherlands, and I fell in love completely with the Netherlands. Like, I remember the train trip from Eindhoven to Amsterdam, and I was looking at the window like, wow. And then I applied, and then I got into Minerva. And I would say that since I'm in Minerva, things got pretty serious about like my career and my making and thinking, reflecting, what am I doing, yeah.
Okay, well, you are now already at Minerva, which includes my next question actually.
Great.
What were your plans when you came, and what is your experience related to the Dutch life you are confronted here with?
What were my plans when I first came here? Well, my plan was my dream, which was study art in Europe. My plan was, just to start a new chapter in my life and try how would it be to live here. I think I could easily adapt, because I could easily adapt to the English culture, and I could easily adapt here. I don't have a lot of troubles with the weather or with the food. I can appreciate things, I would say, and it's not really hard. But so far my experience with the Dutch culture has been great, and it's also a bit unusual because Minerva is an international environment, and Groningen is an international city as well. So I don't feel I'm very, very into the Dutch culture 100%, because every day I'm even living with people from around the world. So I'm surrounded by all these different cultures that we learn from each other, that we can share, and I'm actually thankful for this, because then it's not such a hard cultural shock, and we can share things and learn from each other. So really great, yeah.
Okay, well, somewhere I saw your private art collection. It's online, and there are works.
It's not private anymore.
Well, not totally anymore. There are works from artists like Matisse, Malevich, Mark Rothko, Louise Bourgeois. And is there a connection for you between all these artists you present there?
Well, I think this, if I still encounter these artists and their work, I really, really like them. Yeah, Matisse I really love, and Louise Bourgeois, I really like her work. But I would say, I have a lot of artists I like, but I don't necessarily have a connection in my own work, because, for example, I really, really love Alphonse Mucha or Henry Toulouse-Lautrec. Like, visually, for me, they are amazing. But that's what I considered art, high art, before I started Minerva. A lot of painting and 2D. Since I'm in Minerva, my perception of art widened and opened up so much that still is art for me, but art can be much more and different. So those are what I would call, high artists, famous and successful, and that they bring their own contribution to the art world. But relations to my work, maybe I would like, maybe for example with Louis Forschois, it was very personal for her work and very close to her stories. So in a way I could relate to that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I was missing one artist, and I know that you really love Marina Abramovic. Can you tell me a little bit what you really love about her work?
This is really complex. Love is like wow. I would say I have mixed feelings, but overall what I love about her as an artist is her determination and her hard work. I see her as very committed artist, and this for me is really inspirational. I saw a retrospective of her a few months ago in Bonn, which was amazing. It were more than 150 works from her early years of paintings until now. I really love her research, and especially the works that are related to spirituality. I read her. Have you read her autobiography, Walking Through Walls? No? No? Well, I would recommend it, Walking Through Walls. I read it in less than a month. I devoured it. It's like this, and it's so interesting. Also to get to know her background and her childhood years, then you can understand more what she's doing and why she's doing. And maybe you won't like her work, but you can appreciate. At least this was for me. And I really like her early work with Ulay as well, where they were really experimenting with their bodies and with themselves, and with very simple things like passing breath into each other or like collapsing into each other. Like such a simple idea is really about being in the same page and living and breathing art. And for me this is wow, amazing. I really like also the method she developed with a lot of mindfulness and being present, and so that's what I could say about her.
Okay. Can you tell me what your connection is with social media?
My connection with social media, I am a bit addicted to social media. I have to say, I check Facebook quite a lot. But my connection is to be connected. I use Facebook to share my work and to invite people to the things I do. So for me, I really use it as a tool to communicate my work and the things I do. In Instagram, I use it a lot for sharing inspiration and things I found in the world and life. So very visual. And I have a website which I should update. But it's also a bit to give you a glimpse of who I am and what I've done.
Well, can you tell me what inspires you and what not?
I think everything inspires me. Like life really inspires me, and people and nature and everything. I go cycling and then I see all these lines of yellow trees which are turning yellow because of spring, and I'm like, oh my god. And then all of the leaves on the ground, then I pick up some leaves and then I keep them in my table, and then maybe in a few months I will do a book about them, or I will give it to someone. And that's how I work. It's how I live actually, and everything. Maybe a conversation we have tomorrow will become a poem or a part of an audio installation, and everything really, or these coincidences in life really inspire me. You know how sometimes you have like the three cars on the street and they are all parked next to each other and they are all blue, or like the door from a house is yellow, and like these connections. Yeah, everything is really inspiring for me. And also, of course, I found inspiration in art, but I think the most fruitful and pleasant inspiration comes from really every day and being receptive to my surroundings.